A man and woman from Huntley face nearly 100 combined counts of animal cruelty after law enforcement suspect the two were behind the abandonment of more than 50 dogs at a dog park in July. 61-year-old Concepcion Rodriguez is charged with 73 counts of animal cruelty to animals and 19 counts of violation of owner's duties, and 54-year-old Bruce Walla faces 19 counts of cruelty to animals and 19 counts of violation of owner's duties. The two allegedly abandoned 54 dogs on July 15th at Belvidere's Hammer Time Unleashed Dog Park. Rodriguez appeared in court today.